Hello and welcome back to Vizura Recaps. The first scene portrays Elliot Deacon, a funeral director who operates a funeral parlor. As part of his everyday practice, he gently prepares the dead bodies for their funerals. He is now preparing the dead body of an old piano instructor. We next shift to Anna Taylor, a middle school teacher, who is having sex with her lover Paul. Despite the beautiful backdrop, she does not appear to be enjoying it at all. Later, while showering, Paul inquires about the situation, but she swears that she is all right, despite her expression indicating otherwise. Following this, Anna goes to work, where she discovers two older teens harassing her younger student, Jack. She reprimands them and quickly chases them away. After work, Anna is leaving school when the lights in the corridor begin to flicker. She rushes to the exit, terrified, only to discover that it is locked. During this stressful time, Jack comes and unlocks the door without difficulty. That evening, Anna attends her former piano teacher's funeral at Elliot's funeral parlor. As she approaches the dead body, she notices its lips twitching, which startles her for a second. But after a second glance, she sees it's normal and that it must have been her imagination. Later that night, Anna meets Paul at a posh restaurant for supper. During this time, he tells her about his promotion to the company, which requires him to relocate to Chicago. He then takes out a ring from his pocket, meaning to propose to her and take her with him. But before he can do so, Anna starts arguing because she believes he is about to break up with her. Paul attempts to convey the reality, but she rushes away without listening. She drives away in anguish and finds up in a traffic collision in the pouring rain. The following image shows Anna on an embalming table in the funeral parlor, her face pallid and with a cut on her forehead. Elliot enters shortly after and begins to prepare her. As he begins to undress her, Anna opens her eyes and wonders where she is. Elliot responds with unusual coolness, saying she is in the funeral home and has died. He goes on to inform her that she was killed 8 hours earlier when she crashed with a vehicle carrying metal pipes. Anna, confused and afraid, refuses to accept she is dead, despite the funeral director's assurances that she is only transitioning to the hereafter. Meanwhile, Paul wakes up at home and makes many efforts to reach his girlfriend. However, Anna's goods are now with Elliot, who disregards the call and places them in a storage cupboard with the stuff of other deceased. Unable to find her, Paul visits her mother's house to check about her whereabouts. Mom tells him about the horrific accident that killed her, which shocks him greatly. In addition, she blames him for allowing her to drive in such severe conditions. Back at the funeral home, Elliot sutures Anna's wounds, and she is surprised because she is not in agony. She asks about it, but he ignores her and injects her with hydronium bromide, a fictitious medicine that he claims will relax her muscles. A bit later, Anna's wheelchair-bound mother comes to the funeral home to visit her. She speaks to Anna's dead body in a tearful tone, wondering who would care for her now. Before leaving, she requests that Elliot restore her hair to its natural color, brown. Later on, Anna awakens to find herself alone in the room. She musters the strength to sit straight. She then walks over to the landline phone, but it does not work. Just thereafter, Paul arrives at the funeral home and asks Elliot to allow him see his girlfriend. Despite his desperation, the funeral director refuses to let him in because he has no legal links to her. When Anna hears Paul's voice, she cries and bangs on the door, but her attempts are ignored. Paul then travels to the police station to meet his friend, Tom, in the hopes that he can do something to get him into the funeral home. However, another police officer assures him that Tom has gone on patrol duty and will return shortly. Until then, Paul enters the police impoundment and sits in Anna's smashed car. During this time, he gets a vision of his lover, which is abruptly interrupted by Tom's hand. Paul begs him to do anything to make it easier for him to see Anna, but he is helpless to assist. On the other hand, Anna wanders around the room and discovers another dead body on the table. Not wishing to meet such a fate, she grabs a pair of scissors and waits for Elliot. She threatens to murder him the moment he steps in, but he seems unconcerned. He believes she can't hurt him since she's already dead. Anna protests, asking how she can communicate with him if she is dead. Elliot discloses that she can connect with him because he possesses the power to converse with the dead. He also suggests that she let go of life because her funeral is in 3 days, following which she will be placed in a coffin and buried forever. In the following scene, Elliot is preparing an elderly woman's body for burial when he is joined by Jack, who appears to know of Anna's death. The youngster inquires about her instructor, to which Elliot responds that her burial is on Friday and begs him to go for now. The next morning, Paul hears Anna's whispering voice and has images of her taking a shower. However, he quickly awakens from his slumber, recognizing that it was all a dream. Meanwhile, Elliot approaches Anna with the outfit she will wear at her burial. While he is preoccupied, she snatches several keys from his pocket. Later, as Elliot prepares to pick up another dead body from the hospital, Anna quickly uses the stolen keys to try to unlock the door. Elliot pulls up at a gas station to replenish his tank, and he finds he has forgotten his keys. So he runs back to the funeral home. In the meantime, Anna manages to unlock the door and explores the home. She quickly discovers a room with a telephone. She hastily phones Paul's number and begins praying that he will pick up. After a long ring, he picks up the phone but quickly hangs up, assuming it was another hallucination. Elliot then finds her and shows her a mirror with her dead body-like reflection. This finally convinces her that she has indeed died. At the same time, Jack, who is standing directly in front of the home, spots Anna, leaving him stunned. Another unusual incident occurs as Anna sighs in front of the mirror, causing her breath to cloud it. However, Elliot quickly wipes it away before she notices it. Now that she is certain of her death, Anna quits opposing Elliot's preparation of her body and pays no attention to what he administers her with. The next day, Paul goes to Anna's school to retrieve her possessions. As he prepares to depart, he is approached by Jack, who informs him that he saw Anna in the funeral parlor wearing a red dress yesterday. Paul does not believe in him and claims she is dead. But when the youngster says he doesn't love her enough, Paul becomes so enraged that he strikes him in front of everyone. At the funeral home, a police officer enters to visit his brother's dead body, which is held in the same room as Anna. He then requests Elliot leave him alone with his brother for a few minutes. As the funeral director departs, the officer's actual intentions become clear as he approaches Anna's nude body. But just as he's about to touch her, Elliot rushes in and orders him to leave. After that, Jack returns to the funeral home and tells Elliot about what he observed the other day. Elliot responds calmly, saying they both have the power to connect with the departed. On his way home, Paul suddenly recalls Anna's red clothing from the morning of her death. This raises his suspicion that his sweetheart may still be alive. He runs to the funeral home and demands to see her, but Elliot declines. This time, Paul ignores him and bursts in, yelling for Anna. He continues to look for her until the funeral director threatens to call the police. Paul then rushes to the police station to inform Tom that his girlfriend is still alive. He speculates that Anna was drugged with a heavy dose of medicines, causing her heart rate to drop to its lowest point. However, his companion does not trust him since he lacks proof to support his story. Later, Elliot dresses Anna in her funeral clothing while the two have a long talk. She admits that she was never satisfied with her life and was unable to love Paul unconditionally. But now she regrets everything. The scene then shifts to the day of the burial, with Elliot placing Anna in the coffin. As he prepares to inject her with another dosage of medicines, she requests to see herself one more time. He then brings up a little mirror, and when she looks at herself, she finds her breath accumulating on the glass. This makes her understand Elliot has been lying to her the entire time, and she is still alive. In a frenzy of terror, she attempts to struggle, but Elliot administers the pills, knocking her out. Later, everyone assembles in the funeral hall to pay their final respects to Anna. A little while later, Paul arrives and sets the engagement ring on her finger. Elliot cautiously closes the casket as her lips and eyes twitch slightly. After it is buried in a cemetery, the bereaved Paul begins drinking heavily. The funeral director approaches him, and Paul blames him for burying Anna alive. Elliot responds by claiming that he could be correct and instructing him to do his own investigation. Infuriated, Paul reacts forcefully, but Elliot warns him that he doesn't have much time left. Paul accelerates towards the graveyard, sensing the urgency of the situation. Meanwhile, Anna awakens inside the coffin and desperately pleads for help as she gradually runs out of oxygen. Despite being under the effects of alcohol, Paul avoids multiple automobiles on the highway. He then comes at the cemetery and hastily digs up Anna's coffin, pulling her out. He miraculously revives her, and she expresses her love for him. At the same time, Paul hears some strange sounds, which Anna says are the sound of Elliot's scissors cutting his garments. The next second, Paul finds himself in the funeral parlor, with Elliot standing over him, preparing his body in the same way as he did Anna's. Elliot tells him that he never made it to the cemetery because of an automobile accident that killed him. Paul insists that he is still alive until Elliot places an embalming trocar deep into his torso. That was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more material like this, and please press the like button to assist us. Also, if you want us to recap your favorite movie, leave a comment. Take care until the next time.